Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. We are here for our presentation by Camilla Cesari. Camilla, did I pronounce your last name correctly?
It's fine. It's Cesari, but I lived for a little while in the US and I'm very used to this more gentle way of pronouncing it.
Oh, Cesari, I like that. Camilla Cesari, who is going to present on PCC to MCC from self-doubt to self-mastery. And I have no doubt that what you're presenting will be meaningful to a whole bunch of different transitional situations. But thank you for this presentation today. Before I introduce Camilla, I'm going to share my screen. And Camilla, if you could go ahead and maybe if anyone's in the waiting room, if you could let them in, that would be fantastic.
Yes.
And in the meantime, I am going to share. You all have access, of course, to our website where you can see our full calendar, but we did want to just kind of make a few quick announcements. Can you all see the screen okay? All right, so coming up on Tuesday, well, later this, we'll do that in reverse order, I think. But coming up on Tuesday, September 9th, and this is every second Tuesday of the month, we have Emerging Leaders Session, which is hosted by Barry Shanerman and Claudia Flores. This is for anyone who could benefit from having meaningful conversations around leadership topics, whether you're a coach, whether you're thinking about becoming a coach. This is a very powerful session that we have every second Tuesday of the month. So if you can join only one or the series, please feel free to register for that. It's at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we have the Outreach Committee monthly call. This happens on September 12th at 9 a.m. The Outreach Committee focuses on organizing and implementing programs that are around coaching and bringing the coaching experience to our community, and hence the name Outreach. We focus on profits, nonprofits, education, all different sectors of our industries and of our communities, and to understand how you can participate and what the opportunities are for you as coaches. This is a great event to attend. That's at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. The next one is on September 12th. Then we have associated with the Outreach Committee is the Coaching and Education Program. The Coaching and Education Program is currently still open, I believe, to recruiting members to be actively involved in bringing coaching into our education system, whether it's in universities, for students, it could be anyone greater than 18 years old. So it's students, faculty, and staff. And Irina Khoury will be the one who is going to lead that project. And so that the events for this month are scheduled for September 15th and 29th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. That is to learn more about the program, but actually to actively participate as well. And to learn more about what roles are open and how you can support us. Then, of course, we have every other Tuesday, the next one being September 16th, we have Get Shift Done, which is led by Sophia Casey, who is an MCC that is very powerful. This session is really an hour and a half, where we have an hour of what I like to call co-working, active co-working via Zoom, with an intention. And Sophia Casey leads that with Valeska. That is at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Then we have Coffee and Connections. We've been making a bigger effort this year to have in-person connections with our community. So we have scheduled events here in Miami. So for those of you who are local in South Florida, the next one is September 18th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Bring your own brew. This one is actually virtual, as I said in person. This one is virtual, sorry. So hence the 8:30 a.m.
Can I mention something? This
Absolutely.
is part of the membership committee, and since we're such a global community, this is to incorporate everybody around the world. So
thank you, Katja, for sharing that. That's meaningful to know. And I do appreciate that we made this coffee time a virtual one so we can bring our global community in. So those of you from Italy and elsewhere in Europe and the United States, feel free to join us. These events are all on our calendar. So if there's anything in here, I'm going to put the link to our calendar in the chat in a moment for those of you who may not have access to it. Then we also have the Barter Coaching Practice Lab. That is on Friday, August 15th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That is every third Friday of the month, hosted by Fernando Salas. He's an MCC and member of our local community here, where he focuses on expanding our barter coaching program within our coaches community. So join us for that. We have this, I believe, will be our in-person coaching, what we call Coachalate. This picture here is from our last one that we recently had in Coral Gables. The next one is Friday, September 19th at 1:30 p.m. And that's at La Boulangerie in Sunset. So I hope that all of you who are in South Florida can join us there. And then we're off to what we are here for today. Oops, sorry. All right, so I'd like to introduce to you, I have on the screen a little bit more information. I'm going to briefly say a few words about Camilla. Camilla is an MCC with 8,000 plus coaching hours across 40 plus countries. Camilla specializes in helping coaches transition from technique-dependent coaching to embodied mastery. She supports coaches. Oh, wait 1 second. Oops, sorry about that. She supports coaches through the skills, refinement, and mindset shifts required to embrace mastery. There's a few more words that I wanted to say, if you all will bear with me.
Yeah, but don't feel it's not necessary. Yeah?
Okay, Camille, if I'll go ahead and and hand it off to you if you want to pick it up from here.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, and thank you all for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me, Shakti. And I don't need many words. And of course, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself throughout this presentation. I have offered this a few other times, and I've built this as a conversation. So I do have some slides. I'll offer slides. I do also have a resource to share with you at the end. It will be sent to you through ICF South Florida. But I would really love for this to be a conversation and co-create it with you. So I'm telling you a little bit about myself throughout this because this path to mastery for me was very meaningful. As my encounter with coaching was very meaningful, and this my offering this or creation of the level 3 training, and in general the reflections that I've done in these last years, I think were very are very central in general for personal and not just professional evolution. So before though I'll focus on the topic for today, I would like to hear a little bit from you around what brought you to this webinar. So you enrolled and what spoke to you? And there might be different preferences. Some of you might prefer to speak, others to write in the chat. Everything is welcome. I hope you feel happy to speak as well, but all is good.
I'll start, Camila.
Thank you.
I'm Katia. I'm based in Santa Cruz, Bolivia.
Okay.
South America. And I'm in my journey. I have I'm a PCC, and I have less than a year now to renew my PCC. So I decided I was going to start preparing myself for an MCC. So I'm in that journey at the moment, and I've taken like a year to prepare. So I'm really interested in this.
In this conversation in general, or is there something specific about this journey that you...
The title of the presentation really caught my attention, no? Of self-doubt to self-mastery. So that's where I am in that middle of that journey.
Okay, super. Thank you, Katia. Thanks for breaking the ice as well.
I can go next. So I've renewed my PCC twice. The next one is up at the end of 2027. And I have a tendency to wait until the very end to get all of my use. So part of it is I'm not doing that. Third time's a charm. I'm not doing that anymore. But then also I was like, well, I have enough hours. I've been coaching for 10 years. Why don't I just, at the time of renewal, just move into MCC? And then all of the doubt came up of, am I a good coach? Have I strayed too far from the ICF standards? So all of the doubt about turning in a recording or two. And the title, of course, like really hit that. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you. Thanks, Shannon. I think we'll reflect on these things a bit during this hour. So thank you. Gaurav, I saw you are muted.
Yeah, so hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Saurav. I work for Equifax in India. Okay, so it's a credit rating agency based out of US. So I'm ACC certified, and I'm planning to enroll myself for the PCC. So I wanted to be a part of the session just to get a feel of it, so that it gives me some better understanding, how I should prepare myself for enrolling myself for this program. So yeah, really looking forward to it. Yeah, so as far as my coaching experience is concerned, since I work for a corporate, so I primarily act as a coach for my internal leaders, right? And so I don't, separately charge, or I don't have taken it up as a profession yet. Maybe I have aspirations of starting it professionally in future. So yeah, so that's more about me.
Thank you. Thanks, Saurav.
Thank you.
You're very proactive and eager to move forward.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
I have been coached. My coach used to say that any coaching is good coaching. Coaching always helps. So
Yeah.
I've tried it with my friends, and they have really found it useful. So yeah, so I'm gradually developing the passion, which I can say.
Super. And the
Thank you.
path to mastery. Everyone is on the path to mastery. Maybe if they choose to. I'm on the path to mastery every day. So
wonderful.
Super. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Anyone else would like to share what brought you to this space, and what are you looking for? Maybe.
Go ahead, Franco.
Yeah, so basically it was the self-doubt on the title that I was kind of caught my attention, because I'm not a PCC, I'm still an ACC, but I thought it was kind of interesting anyway to join this event, because I think that right now where I am in my journey, self-doubt is quite predominant. So I think that I would like to we can say connect to people who are in the journey of self-mastering, and try to understand how to get there too.
Super. Franco. Okay. Anyone else that would like to add something? Okay. So let me start sharing a little bit about myself as we're transitioning to the content. So I'm Italian, as you know. I'm based in Bologna. I came across coaching 15 years ago as I moved to Australia for an MBA, and I was going through a very intense moment in my life. And I think it was the first time in my life that I had in front of me a person that fully trusted me and that trusted that I had the answers for myself. So instead of complying with someone else's thoughts or doing something that I would need to be doing, it was the first time that I was invited to find what I really wanted. And I'm telling you this, and then after that, a lot happened. But I'm telling you this because this also journey from PCC to MCC reminds me a little bit about that. You know, from PCC markers, complying, ticking the boxes, what are evidence of behaviors, to a different realm, which is how do I express the core competencies? And I could express them in my super unique way, which can't be necessarily described in an evidence. Still, I am embodying and demonstrating them. So there is the great opportunity, I think, moving from PCC to MCC to leave what I should be doing to demonstrate that how can I demonstrate through my being a coach in my unique way, the coaching or ICF competencies are at MCC level. So this is also what brought me to think about this conversation presentation, and this is also why it is very meaningful for me, this leg of the journey. I share some slides. I hope they don't get too much in the way, but so, okay. So this is a little bit what I have in mind to cover today. Speaking a little bit about confidence and why confidence might be a barrier to pursuing MCC, how the inner critic shows up or might show up, what are mindset shifts that are required or are useful to move from PCC to MCC, and practical ways to tame your inner critic. So there are many reasons, I would say, that PCC coaches don't pursue MCC. And pursuing MCC is not necessary. I mean, no one makes it compulsory for anyone to go to MCC. Anyway, some don't think it's worth the time, the money, the effort. Maybe some coaches don't work in a market that differentiates between PCC and MCC. Sometimes the ICF website might seem a little bit overwhelming. Sometimes about finance. Sometimes is about not knowing where to start with and how to be supported and accompanied in the right way, whatever right might be. Yet it is very important to see and recognize if behind some of these reasons why not the inner critic is hiding. Because sometimes, so what I always say is very important to understand your motivation to go for MCC or not to go for MCC, because not going for MCC is absolutely okay. But realizing if the reason not is the inner critic, that is very important to make sure that you're moving with purpose. So in the beginning, for instance, in my case, I said I'll never go for MCC. So I was very happy being a PCC. I thought, well, MCC means that I am doing things perfect. I don't think I want to put after my name something that says that I'm the best. What if the MCC is there? Everyone is going to expect that I'm not going to make mistakes, that I'm going to be perfect, that I've got it all fixed and perfect. And so I had all these thoughts about what MCC meant for me. And I decided I wouldn't go for MCC. At a certain point, something shifted. I remember the exact moment. I don't know what brought it. I was walking and I thought, well, MCC for me doesn't mean that I'm perfect. For me, MCC means a commitment to walking a certain kind of path every day. It means that whatever I'm showing up, and I might be making mistakes, of course, I'm always going to be in the mindset of wanting to continue to learn, to develop, to understand together what might have worked or not worked. And I'll be on that journey of learning always. And that meant something that went beyond the professional realm for me. And that's where my mind shifted, and MCC had gotten or acquired a totally different meaning. And that's why, or when I decided, yes, I'll go for MCC. It didn't happen right away because, of course, the inner critic continued speaking, and I knew I had a few voices. I'm going to share some of these voices with you, see if they resonate. So not all applied to me, I'll tell you afterwards, but definitely a few, yes. I'm not good enough yet. What if I fail and waste all the money? I need more experience first. My coaching isn't special enough. I don't have the natural talent for this level. Oh, I don't know, any of these voice resonates, or maybe you want to add some other that I haven't been creative enough or creative enough to put there. Anyone that wants to share something at this stage?
Well, I can say really briefly, I think I'm not an I'm an ACC and I have my CPCC from the Coactive Training Institute, but pretty much all of these resonate with what I was telling myself between my training and the certification. Just to get to that ACC and CPCC level. So I think certainly it resonates for me.
Yeah. Thanks, Shakti. And also that's what I mean by saying it's not something that necessarily only happens from PCC to MCC, because we've got these voices for other maybe goals or results or things that we want to achieve. And so that's also why this journey from PCC to MCC for me is an opportunity to meet these talks or these beliefs and then make friends with them rather than be guided by them through our lives. Thanks, Shakti.
And I see in the chat from Shannon, she said, I'm not good enough. Getting my PCC was a fluke, so I won't be able to pass this. It's going to be hard, too much studying. Now I need to find an MCC for mentor coaching to prep, too much money, etc.
Yeah. So absolutely. And also, Shannon, what resonated from what you said before is like, I wait for the renewal. And when because I remember that I delayed my MCC application, and my mentor at the time, like I was working with Belinda, which she'll meet afterwards in a video. And she said, no, you're ready. You got more than enough hours. You did the mentoring. You go for MCC. And then I did the calculation of the hours, and I had over 4,000 hours. And I had attended 5 different coaching schools because I knew one of my critics or whatever, it is possibly also part of who I am. So I attended 5 different training schools because I thought I can't go to MCC having done just 1 or 2 and not having a broader idea of some different philosophies, coaching philosophies. So I wanted to have a broader understanding of coaching under many angles. This is also helping me because now, when I mentor coaches that have done one school or another, I know what they possibly need to unlearn but it has been a big investment on my side to do that before going for MCC. Yeah, also finding out the hours. It was for me too. Yes.
Can I share when I got my first credential? no? And I went to different schools,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, I would say, it was traumatic. No, I would present, and it wasn't a good experience for me and all the cohort. We were in that. And then I went to another school, and then I started preparing myself. And after it had been so painful to try to get the ACC that I said, I'll go straight for PCC. I had the hours, and and it was, I don't know, like, I didn't want to go through that, no? So I said, okay, now I think I'm prepared. I'll stretch myself and go directly to PCC, no? So yeah, it was not an easy journey. It was very, very tough.
Yeah. Well, I understand, and I think many things emerge as you're saying this. We also have our history on applications and putting things together, finding the hours. I don't have an amazing, so I'm not extremely happy when I need to fill in forms. I don't know what happened to my life. I don't know yet, but every time I need to do some form, I postpone. I know I've got this tendency. So that's good. You had a good strategy that you passed directly to PCC. So yeah. So yes, so many voices we might hear, and I'll go back to my slides. Sometimes we can label, or it's perfectionism, procrastination. The comparison, we compare with others, or seeking certainty, like what I hear a lot of times, what's an MCC question, or what's the formula, and there's no MCC question per se, isn't it? So sometimes I hear the inner critic of some trainers that sometimes want to offer MCC questions, even the most amazingly crafted questions per se are not MCC if they're scripted. No, they need to emerge in the moment. So all of this, the problem with all of this is that all these voices disrupt us from presence. And if we're not present, we're not focused on what's emerging in the moment, we are not at a level of mastery, isn't it? So the self-doubt or the inner critic gets in the way on our journey towards MCC, holds us back, but it holds us back and prevents us to be present also in a coaching session. It is about presence, it's about core competency 5. So if you're listening to your self-talk, you're not listening or being with the client and co-creating or partnering or offering coaching at that level. You stop me if there's questions. I don't, I might not be stopping enough. Sorry. I've got a video in the next slides and it started. Okay. So very often we say that the movement from PCC to MCC is a mindset shift, and one of the fundamental shifts is really trusting ourselves as a coach, trusting that the work we've done, the quality that we have achieved is enough, and letting go of that desire to maybe control the unknown or do things in a set, predetermined, performing way. So here I'll share in another slide. This is very, how do you say, schematic, but allow me for this to be schematic. At ACC level, we have learned to trust the process. We learned what coaching is, that there's a beginning, that there's an exploration, that there's an ending, and we trust the process. At PCC, we are trusting the client, partnering with the client, being them, co-creating with them. and at MCC level, it is very, very important, and we trust ourselves that we trust also what is emerging in the relationship between us and the client. So there's like a really enhanced quality of our presence, of our the trust and safety that we can build, that we are able to build with the client. And that's also why working on self and in our coaching journey, working on self is extremely important, because we can offer the space to go as deep as we go to the client. Now, the client can't necessarily go, well, on their own, they might go deeper, but if we are getting in the way, if we're triggered in a certain way, or if we don't offer a space that has enough breadth, then the client can't go as wide and deep as they could potentially go. So the work on self, on connecting, on self-awareness is absolutely key and important. I've got here, if you're okay to listen, her experience from Belinda as she was going to MCC. So Belinda is a very seasoned coach. She's been MCC for ages, and she's also co-leading one of the level 3 training with me, the one on that is from here to the Pacific side, and then I'm co-leading another one with Anne Fogelin. I don't know if you know her, which is based in Canada, for participants from here to Americas. So she's telling a little bit about our story while she was going to MCC. Let me know if you can't hear. I hope you can hear.
Let me tell you what happened to me when I started to apply for my MCC. It was 2005, so a long time ago. And we had to get support from another MCC coach, in fact, 2 MCC coaches. And I, recorded a whole lot of clients. I listened back to them, which is excruciating, listening back to yourself. Anyway, I chose a good one. I worked with my mentor coach. We chose one, and I sent it off to a well-respected MCC coach in Asia Pacific. I was really nervous, and I had to pay this MCC coach to review my recording and give me feedback, and hopefully her endorsement that I'm coaching at MCC level. This was before the MCC bars. Anyway, finally I get the email. I'm pretty nervous and a little bit confident, but not really. And anyway, I read the email, and here's what it said. I'm not kidding you. It said, Belinda, you're missing the magic. 5 words. And I paid money for this. I couldn't believe it. Once my ego got out of the way, because I'm one of those people that likes to get really good marks, I did throughout my academic career, and, it's just who I am. Not anymore, but it's who I was. And I'm like, where's the magic? What is the magic? How do I find it? And I was really flat for a couple of days, again, my ego. But then I realised I'm angry. I paid all this money and all this time to get 5 words. Belinda, you're missing the magic. So from then, I promised myself that eventually when I got my MCC, which I eventually did, and I would become an MCC assessor, which the training is unbelievably hard, and we still have it. Every quarter we meet as an MCC assessor group and go through, and we do calibration exercises. I mean, it's really amazing training and ongoing training. But back then, I'm like, well, what do I do? Where do I find the magic? What is the magic? And if you're feeling a bit like that it's a bit ethereal, we can't quite put our finger on it, that's what it is. Being an MCC, it's an internal job. In fact, that's why I've got this love top on today. Love, it's the real thing. because coming from love of ourselves, the self-compassion, and love of our clients, and love of coaching. So remember that to apply for MCC, you need 2,500 client hours. You need 200 hours of coach-specific training. You need to be mentored for at least 10 hours on the core competencies. We've already got it inside of us. And my very first coach said to me, Belinda, MCC is a mindset. And I'm like, what does that mean? Anyway, what the message I want to share with you is the magic is already within. You've already, or you're close to having the requirements, the 2,500 hours of clients, the 200 hours of coaching education, coach-specific education, the mentoring, you've worked, reviewing your recordings. It's already there. It's an internal job. The magic is inside of me, and the magic is inside of you. Bye.
So here's Belinda's experience. I don't know, anything that resonates. What is catching your attention? David, I'm seeing, what did you love about this? If you want to speak. I pulled you in, sorry.
Sure. I loved everything about it. And I think she was right, or whoever gave her that feedback was absolutely correct. There is something that's magical. It's not necessarily a bullet that needs to be checked, box that needs to be checked. It's just kind of being in the moment, dancing in the moment, and just experiencing the situation very organically, and really trusting yourself and not being afraid to be vulnerable. And so, yeah, I thought she did a really good job of articulating it, because it's not something that is necessarily written and saying, oh, you didn't do this or do that, but it's sort of almost intangible.
Yeah. Yeah, and Belinda used the word magic, and the person that gave her feedback used that word. We can use other words, but I think that what you said, David, is absolutely on point. It is about trusting self. It is about vulnerability sometimes, and also we know as well what are our strengths and not our strengths, and things we might want to allow for more in our coaching. Anything else? I'm curious to see what's present at this time of our conversation. I also see, Amelia, your MCC. So I'm not sure. Okay, you're there. Now, are you driving? Are you what?
I'm driving. I was taking the kids to school, so I'm
Okay. Maybe you don't want to speak right now then. Maybe
it's fine. The traffic here in Miami, it's so slow. It's almost like a parking lot.
Okay, but don't look at me. If you want to speak, I feel a little bit responsible about this.
Absolutely.
Anything that you would like to share that you feel like sharing about your journey, or maybe you can do it later. It's okay. Are you arriving somewhere soon?
But the traffic goes slow, but yes, I'll be arriving home soon. But one thing that I love so far about your presentation is how easy you make it to understand the difference between ACC, PCC, and MCC. So when you say trust the process, trust the client, trust yourself, it's almost like at ACC, you start eating the cupcake. At MCC, you are eating the whole cupcake, and MCC is just like that cherry on top. It's the mindset, but most important, I think it's where, going with what Belinda said, is where the magic comes together. Because you understand at that point, you understand the trifecta, you understand the process, you understand the client, and now you can bring yourself and complete that trifecta so that you can show up that way for your client. is not so much about being perfect, because I think that's why we coach. We coach our clients to accept themselves, to love themselves, to trust their own experiences. It's more a matter of us completing that whole process. So when I went for my PCC, I thought that I was going to become an MCC, because I saw that so far-fetched, so many hours, like when I was seeing it from my ACC, PCC stand. But then I realized, and I became curious as what's there next. How much better can I coach? And the process of MCC pretty much unveils that, unveils your mojo, your magic sauce, and your ability to allow the process to be, I would like to say, more sophisticated, because then all of a sudden you focus on things that it's the who and the feelings and all of these amazing things that we did hardly played with when we were an ACC and a PCC. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you for inviting me to talk.
Absolutely, absolutely. And sometimes I don't do it because I don't want to push participants to do things that I don't feel like comfortable in doing. And I'm sorry you're in the car, and I felt a little bit like that. But thanks for, and everyone please contribute to this, because I think it's richness for everyone. And what you said, Amelia, I think what is there next? So looking at what's there next is also something that I asked. I'm an MCC, but I don't feel I have arrived anywhere. So what is there next is something that I keep asking myself every day. How can I offer more value? I think this is part of being MCC. That is actually what, or at least what I consider it as being a big part of being an MCC.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you said that, because I think that whether you're ACC, PCC, or MCC, in my view at least, and in my experience, when I'm getting coached as a client, I feel that the credentials are you build up to that, and you experience it, and you achieve it, and it doesn't ever end, and it doesn't always, we are constantly shifting and changing as people, and our clients are, and if we are not kind of constantly also progressing and shifting and living more deeply into whatever it is, whether it's ACC, PCC, or MCC, I think it doesn't really have an opportunity to come to its full capacity. So I feel that you're always improving on these things, and you're always redesigning and developing and co-creating. So
yeah. Yeah, very beautiful, Shakti. And I think, as it is as complex and a big opportunity as we humans and relationships are, because the beauty of, I think, the ICF framework is that is extremely, once you really understand, because some intend it in a very restrictive way, but I think it is extremely liberating. So, because you have just the layout, the process, and then you can inhabit it in any way you want. So there's like heaps to discover. There is heaps to discover about ourselves because every time we coach, well, I speak for myself. Every time I coach, I learn something about the way I am with a person, what triggers or doesn't trigger me, or how I'm in a relationship, or what I was able to do or like felt that didn't happen. So it is, and I'm a naturally very curious person, so it's very I think that it aligns very well with my way of being. Super. I don't know, Tony, I'm not sure if you ever spoke since I was thanked to invite people speaking. Then Dana, Tony, if you want to just even share where you are in this conversation, if there's Any reflections, insights, or anywhere that you would like to go that you haven't heard yet?
Yeah, so I'm a PCC. I'm located in Atlanta, Georgia. And it's always interesting to get exposure to MCCs and see how they have sort of individualistically navigated that process. And that's why, I sign up for as many MCC webinars as possible, just to, sort of project into the future to see what that might look like. I guess one question on that I had for you and anybody else that might be MCC is, do you feel like with the magic that you're now aware of and maybe you're using in your sessions, do you feel like if you submitted one of these magical sessions as one of the sessions to be analyzed, let's say if you were applying for MCC, would it pass muster? So in other words, does it have that same structure with all of the elements in it that would be required in order to get a pass? Because sometimes I feel like it's been expressed that the clients do need that specific structure and sometimes they don't. So how would you respond to that?
So I'll respond for what my understanding of your question is, and you correct me if. So I think that at MCC level there is not a structure as such in a way. There is a frame and there are some elements, and you need to be with the client in a certain way that allows them to explore and find their own answers and focus, both on the what and the who. Is every session I do an MCC session that would pass the MCC exam? No. For many reasons. Maybe that day I wasn't super performing. Maybe there's something around that client that I need to work. Maybe it is the first sessions and we're still meeting each other. I'm learning about the clients. A lot of the work of the MCC is be a learner of the client, is also at the beginning of the minimum skill requirements, learning about their style, learning about how to best connect with them and challenge them. And that generally takes a few sessions to happen. Also, sometimes the level of the relationship is not such that you can have a full MCC coaching session with the client because they're still learning what is coaching. You need to be with them in a certain way. Or you might have contracted something slightly different, that goes beyond. In the end, if you're deciding to submit a session for ICF purposes, you need to be ensuring that that's what you're doing. And it might not happen every time for many reasons, and a few maybe I've shared. And you can choose to be with the client in that moment in order to meet the client where they are in the best possible ways, and that might not be a full demonstration of MCC competencies.
Yeah, that really makes sense. And I think that maybe where's from my understanding of what you're saying and what the others are saying is the cusp of that magic may lie within, not worrying about that structure as much and your performance, but being really attuned to what's needed, by the client in those moments. It seems like maybe, I think like somebody said, the checkpoints that maybe cause the loss of magic in some way. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely being attuned to the client. and the framework, you would have it already absorbed in a way. You know, you don't need to be worrying about that, because that's already, the principles of that are there. And then you follow the pieces as in respect to what is emerging from the client. But the structure, of course, needs to be there. Anything else about this before I go into another thing that you, Dana, said that caught my attention?
One of the things that worries me is because I used to be a coach trainer as well. So I saw this on my end, and then I saw it on the student's end, where like the, you know, markers that we're supposed to hit, that just immediately takes you out of your intuition. It takes you out of your essence and your being as a coach. And so that was something that I know that I struggled with, and it took me a long time to like get out of that, like learn how to learn how to coach ICF level, but also make it my own and not feel like a robot. And so that was my worry, that if I get back into and am in the back of my head, like, oh, I got to make sure, right? Like, because I know that there's like markers that they're looking for. So I got to make sure that when I'm coaching, I'm hitting these markers. And then that just like immediately takes you out. And now I've messed up the whole energetic piece.
I hear you. So I think I can speak partially to this and help me if I'm not complete. So I have always done schools that are quite aligned. It's not true, because I have also undertaken schools, but I knew already a lot about coaching then. Schools that put a lot, much more into the session than it's required from ICF, and it would be considered leading at ICF level. So when this happens with the people that come, you know, to the training or to mentoring, there's some unlearning that needs to be happening there. There is a part of automata or in absorbing the process, and there's also a part of understanding the reason why those pieces are there and what they're there for. So it's not necessarily, okay, I need to go bam, 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 but it is important that no, we have a result defined that needs to can be checked in the session. That there's all the reasonings, and there's a meaning to all of this, and it's very powerful. So once you get into this and you understand it, and a little bit like driving, you do it over and over and over. That's why, you know, you need to have 500 hours and then 2,500. If you do it in that certain way, because if you do, also another super MCC coach that I know used to say, 2,500 hours to become MCC are enough unless you've been doing for 2,500 hours the same mistakes over and over again. Because of course, if you train the wrong way, then you're not getting closer to MCC. So doing and having a good training, good mentoring gets you closer, and I would say enough, you know. Then you need to consider how you diverged and what serves you to go better, to go back to a more neutral way of coaching. It's a beautiful journey, I would say as well, not to see what is this extra piece that you put, why is it that you put it, and it doesn't prevent you from anyways choosing to coach in a certain way, agreeing with your clients that that's your way of coaching, and you still are super coach, even if you're not, you know, 100% along those lines. Did I go off a tangent or not? Oh, okay.
So can I say something
Absolutely.
about that? You were right when you mentioned about the driving. It's a process, because when you go and get your driver license, you have to make very precise stops. You need to have your radio off, your two hands in the wheel. But then after years of doing that, you can continue driving safe and still you have brought your own element to your driving. You're not longer driving for the driver license test. So in a way, it's a little bit or a lot about that for each one. I guess the key maybe is to see it as evolution as a coach, as us getting better, finessing ourselves more than getting ready for a test. And by the time that you complete your 2000 and something or 3000 hours to become an MCC, you have done this. If you show up with that inner challenge of becoming a better coach and becoming a better coach, by the time you get there, it's already built in you. It's not like you pick up your car for the first time today and tomorrow you go for the driver license test. It takes a lot of different practice and observation and inner reflection and desire to be better for the clients to get you there. But when you do arrive, I think you're ready. I think that when you present those recordings for the test, you already have a lot of that built in and instinct kicks in. It's not your first rodeo. There has been a lot of practice that leads to that.
Yeah.
And all of you will be ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's like a component that's why I structured the training in 3 pillars. There's one on the practice that's maybe not relevant at this stage, but there's one on the refinement of the core competencies. So that they are refined and clean, aligned with ICF. And there's like a big work on self, the big work of maybe aligned with what you would do in supervision as well, not like bring what the challenges, notice what's happening, and become friend also with this inner critic. And one thing that Dana, you said, I don't know why it's coming out here again in my mind. And this might be something linguistic because I'm not an English is not my mother tongue, so I might have understood wrong what you said. But I think I've heard you saying that you've been looking at PCC, MCCs, how they individualistically have been on the journey. In my experience, this has been a journey that I haven't walked individualistically per se. I was supported by amazing, I think my journey to MCC, I must admit, has been fairly easy. In 3-4 months, from when I decided to apply, I applied and everything went super well. I passed. Which I know is not everyone's experience, not because I'm better than anyone else, absolutely, but because there's always an element of luck, of course. But I think I set the basis for this for a very long time. And I walked this journey since the beginning, looking for mentors that really were walking the talk, people that I really felt they were role models for me. I've always chosen people that I looked up at. I don't know if that's good English, but anyways, I think you understand. And I wanted to be like. And that always have walked this path and been in a certain way, and chose the trainings that were aligned with ICF. So I think that being in this sort of environment made it very easy for me. And even if, of course, in certain moment, listening to my own sessions was excruciating, like Belinda says. However, just slightly. Not really a big deal. So I think there's an aspect of doing it in a certain way that makes it easier and more fun than pushing through it. And definitely, as Amelia was saying, the performance mindset is not helpful. It's more like the other way around, possibly. Okay. Is this being useful? Okay.
Camila, can I ask
Yes.
you a question?
Of course.
Because I feel really uncomfortable when I'm recording.
Yeah.
No, it really, I had to, I think, to present the recordings, it was like, forget I'm recording and being really present. And just a question, when you, and you used the word that was performing, when somebody asked you if you're always meeting the MCC criteria in all your sessions, and you said no, and you said sometimes you're not performing. So when you're recording the session, no, to present for MCC, you think that to choose the person you are going to present the recording, you have to choose wisely who you have that conversation with?
So certain people are easier for us to coach than others. So I would, and you know, part of the conversations we might have as well in the training is how to choose a person that enables you, allows you to demonstrate the core competencies as best as you can, being it a relational aspect, being it an ability to go deep enough, be reflective enough, not too much speaking, listening, but not speaking too much. You know, so there are some qualities that make a client better to be coached, and easier for you to display the competencies at MCC level.
And regarding to what Shannon's asking, is it better to coach a coach or somebody that's, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so coaching a coach is an interesting topic. I wouldn't suggest coaching a coach. I would suggest coaching a person that has the qualities and that you have built a relationship with, that you can coach. And then there's like all the aspect of your way of entering a recording that allows you to be present and not being in that performing mindset that, oh, I'm being recorded, I need to show. I just need to be, isn't it? I wouldn't suggest coaching a coach, and I am not sure that maybe in the mindset of the assessor there would be the idea that coaching a coach is easier than coaching a normal client, and you know, this might play in the listening, maybe, I don't know. So. But you are all able to find a client that you can coach at MCC level. It is, I wouldn't recommend to set 5 sessions with 5 different coaches, clients, and say, oh, one of them will be an MCC level demonstration. I would more advise, you know, I'm having this journey, and then I record, because and also there's like the topic of how do you invite, you know, some of my mentees were like, oh, I don't record sessions. Well, then we can start, and let's find a way for you to start. And sometimes they find it's also very useful for the client, because they can send the recording to the client. The client, you know, might want to listen to the session again. So there are also opportunities there, and sometimes it's our beliefs that the client wouldn't like you to record, but for sure, recording and getting used to record it would also get you used to be more present and yourself in the session.
Very helpful, thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for the question, Katia. Okay. So I had this the performance trap, as the next slide. So there's a tendency, you know, from certain coaches to look for a manual or a script. And I already said, you know, there are no set ways of doing this. You know, mastery emerges from the moment. And I think it's quite easy to detect if something is scripted, you know, and done out of presence. So building self-trust is a fundamental piece of the journey from PCC to MCC. As we said, first, it is very important to acknowledge oneself and recognize that you might or are already an MCC coach. After having trained with a solid school or more than a solid school and programs aligned with ICF, having received mentoring specifically on the core competencies, having worked with clients for over 2,000 hours, that's a lot that you have done. So if you've done all of this, you can start sensing and feeling that you are an MCC, and the certificate is just an external validation of what you already are. So it all starts from the inside. I'm very in agreement with Belinda, and I remember, also when I was going for MCC, I was thinking, okay, will I pass? Will I not? If I don't, I am who I am. I'm coaching like this, anyways. So, and that's exactly what also Belinda told me, like, you're already an MCC, you have more than required hours, you attended squillions of training, and I think she would use exactly the word squillions, and you've consistently worked with mentor and dedicated yourself to this, and so you are enough, so that's the piece of being enough. So there's all this part of work on self that is important to be aware of. So it can be done in many different ways. So in our program, we educate coaching about what happens physiologically when we hear these voices or we are taken out of presence. So we use some science-based approach that are based on research to understand how these fundamental human experiences work. And how to not contrast them, but use them as pieces of information and in our own way. So we really create the space for openness and listening to this, and establishing that courage, that space to not to reject them, but to and have them work in the background, but really to work with them, and also with compassion, because most of the time these voices are information, and if we face them, understand them, acknowledge them, we make peace with them, we just get the good out of them, and then we let go of the part that hooks us in something that we don't want. In this journey, I also realized that I can use this energy that might be an energy that at the beginning is a negative energy in the positive. I know that creativity is one of my strengths. And sometimes when I find myself reactive and I understand what's happening in me, and I understand this energy that's not necessarily positive, I think is much easier than to use it in a positive way. A little bit like martial art. Now, when you're there present, you take this energy, but then you can rechannel it in a way that's more purposeful and useful. And all of these skills, I would say, go beyond MCC. So in this way, I think that really this is an opportunity, to live this journey in a way that allows you to build on something that will give you something also beyond the credential. Yeah, so these are some thoughts. It might be also more than this. It depends on the individual. So pursuing MCC might be is for sure about deepening presence. Whoops. Holding space for others, embracing wisdom, embracing your vulnerability, being absolutely uncomfortable with not knowing. I think this is super key. Every time I have the thought in my head, oh, I know, no? The client said something and I said, oh, I got it, I know. I fail in my mind. I'm like, no, So there's a red flag that raises and says, no, like once you know, you lose the curiosity. Once you know, you're losing that partnership with the and you're going your own way, the way that your mind says. So really becoming fascinated and curious and comfortable with the not knowing. The not knowing is a great source of gifts and learnings. So this is maybe what we've talked about. I think we talked about also other things, but since these were some of the ideas. The inner critic is absolutely a normal part of the coaching journey, and this is an opportunity to learn more about this inner critic and make it an ally. Moving from PCC to MCC requires a shift from performing to embodying, from what should I be doing now to the full expression of who I am as a coach. True mastery comes from trusting yourself and what emerges in the space. Taming the inner critic enhances your coaching presence because you're able to be fully there with the client rather than being with your inner critic, which is not what we want. And that this journey offers some benefits, I would say, beyond certification. Anything else? Any curiosity, thoughts, questions, reflections? I just have a couple of more slides where I tell you about very quickly about the level 3 training. And then, well, actually, I'll do it right now, and then you can ask me. So this is out of the way. So I designed this program and I'm offering it. The next program is starting end of September, beginning of October. As I said to you, I'll be offering it into different time zones with Anne Fogelin westwards and with Belinda McInnes eastwards. Is on around 4 months journey with meetings every week for 2.5 hours and very intimate cohorts of maximum 14, 15 people. And also there's like some grants available for people living in countries where the currency is not very strong. I am amazingly passionate about coaching and also amazingly passionate about bringing coaching where it's not necessarily so spread. So we have this opportunity as well. We don't want that to be a barrier. And that's about it, more or less. I will email, or not me, but someone from ICF South Florida will email you a resource that I offer every time after this kind of webinars around this topic, of course. It's not about the level 3, it is about the taming the inner critic specifically. Done, finished with the slides, and I'm here for all questions and comments and thoughts or anything that you feel that you wanted from this but hasn't been covered.
My question is, because my PCC isn't up until in like 2 years. I'm not like in a rush. I don't know, maybe that's just me dragging my feet because I'm not confident. But if I were to wait until the renewal gets closer, like how what do I want to ask? How much ahead should somebody start prepping for this? Does that make sense?
So when I have people enrolling or asking me for enrollment, I ask them to have more than 1,500 hours, give or take. So
and is that your whole coaching career, or is that in like since that?
No, from the beginning. From the beginning.
I mean, 10 years is like I have 1,000. I don't even know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think so. The way I did it, and I think you don't need to. I wouldn't advise to go until 2,500 hours before starting a journey like this because of the reasons we said before, isn't it? If you're starting to course correct when you're 1,500, it makes more sense that course correct when you're 2,500, or deepening your presence, deepening the relationship with the client. Why not at 1,500? I personally, and that was me, I did and at the level at the time I did this, the level 3 was not available, so I did one journey with a mentor coach, a group mentoring journey, when I was around that frame of like 1,500, 1,800. And I went through I already did recordings, and I was already getting ready. And then when I finally decided, okay, I'm gonna get it done before this date, I interviewed a few mentors. I found one that I liked, and in 3-4 months we had the sessions, and I think it worked for me. So I would advise, so the bottom line, I wouldn't advise to wait. If you feel ready, if you feel this resonates, I would do it possibly earlier rather than later. Not as you've gotten the PCC, that is a little bit early, probably, but after 1,000, 1,200 hours, if you've done solid coaching, coaching with clients in a certain way, I think you're ready.
Right. And then, what's the other question? What is also keeping me from not being excited about this is I know that we don't have to submit names and hours to prove anymore, but like if I was audited, I would have to provide all of that. But like, there's no way I haven't coached that many hours because of all of the programs that I've created and all of this. So, do I need to start logging my hours so I have a spreadsheet of this in case I'm audited? Ugh.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
And you might have, that's also what I did. I did have over 4,000 hours, but I had a solid log of 3,000 something, and that's what I submitted. I said these hours because it was the easier thing I could provide in case of an audit, and
Right.
so.
And correct me, but if you're doing, like, if I've had masterminds and group programs, so even if there's 10 people, it's still 1 hour, right?
1 hour.
Yeah.
It's about the time that you spent and not the number of
Yeah.
people.
It was not like this many years ago, but now it is like that. It's like 1 hour of your time is 1 hour.
All right, I'll get to work. Thank you.
Absolutely, no worries.
Any other questions as we're completing? We have a few minutes left here. I've put in the chat a link, but if any of you are dropping off sooner, I have a link there with some feedback that we'd love to receive. It should only take you a minute or two maximum to complete the survey. It helps us to understand how valuable this was to you and to share some thoughts with Camilla regarding her presentation today and the value to you. So we'd love to receive your feedback there. And any other questions that came up? Franco, anything for you, or David and Dana, Surav, anyone here?
Camila, I want to ask you something. I've seen it very practical, like you have really, like you said, the 3 pillars to prepare. And it's something also that you said is that it was an easy journey for you, no? So what do you think was the key to make it easy or to make it really a enjoyable journey?
I think two things. One was probably, as I said before, that maybe it was something I was on still from the beginning, and my choices along the way were always quality choices. I put a bit of research in where I was being trained and who I was being mentored by, and this part, and also possibly, yeah, that also this network that I created was also my support network. So coaches are a great community of people to be with. And so I think they were supporting me, even if I didn't have something structured as a level 3 with peer coaches, walking my journey and being along the journey with me. I could feel and sense something similar. So I would go back to my mentor. I would, and I think that made it easy.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anyone else?
This is not a coaching session, but I would love to hear to hear at least one word from everyone around what was really most significant for you. What maybe you want to remember, or what was more significant as for me as feedback as well, possibly.
Well, I think the first one thing which I'm going to take away from here is your first slide, which you spoke about ACC, PCC, and MCC, right? So no, it's a very clear distinction. So a lot of times we may get confused that how our approach should change, right? So the way we do it, maybe it's very different from the way a PCC does or a MCC does. So I'll always remember this, and I think this will be definitely one of the greatest takeaways from me. Though I have a very long journey to cover, but yeah, it's a good understanding the beginning of the road. Yeah.
We all have a long journey. Hopefully
Yeah.
it's longer, because it means that we'll be on the journey for a long time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've generalized maybe here and there, ACC process, PCC, but it's just a general idea. Then everyone lives it in their own unique way. But yeah, thanks, Saurav. Thank you,
Anyone else?
Shakti, presence and trust. Thank you. Any other resonance or words? Franco, please.
Yeah, yes. So to me, it's basically even if the discussion was targeted like to people who are evolving, we can say from PCC to MCC, I think that the whole topic is applicable to, we can say, any kind of journey, and even not to coaching. So I'm also another journey now, where I'm trying to become a trainer, and I can say accredited, and that applies to me also in that context as well. I think that I'm trying to find the magic, as Belinda also said, like that makes me create value for myself and for my student. And if we come back to coaching also, even if I'm an ACC, I see how it's applicable also from ACC to PCC to some extent. So I think it was really a really good conversation we had today, and I'm really happy that I joined.
Thank you, Franco, for your feedback, and I'm happy this is applicable to other realms, and all the best in that journey for you.
Thanks.
Absolutely. And I see you trust yourself and change mindset. Yeah. Sorry.
It's a very good. Yeah, no, it's a very good point that you all make, that as you are on your journey to becoming a better coach, there are so many other benefits when you create awareness around your own communication and your own biases and things that require attention to just sort of, up your own game and be, everything you can be in all realms of your life. So I love that about coaching. It really, it does apply to everything else, training or whatever else you're doing. It's amazing. Love it. Thank you.
Absolutely, Dana. And this resonates hugely with me. I feel so grateful that I encountered coaching. I think it was a hugely evolutionary opportunity for me in life. And that's also why I care so much for coaching, to be more and more. And also, I always say the world needs more MCC coaches for that concept of the mindset, because I say, coaching trains people to use their own brain. it is, if we all used more our brain instead of being run by something else, I think this place would be a different place, I think. So that is also what drives me into this kind of work.
Katja wrote in the chat, trust yourself and change your
Yeah.
mindset. Thank
Yeah.
you, Katja, for sharing that.
Thank you, Katja, yes.
I want to briefly, as we're running, I know most of you probably.
Sorry, I saw the time now. Sorry, Shakti.
No, it's totally good. I think we have the survey link in there. I just want to briefly mention that this afternoon at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, we will have Donnell Green, who's also an MCC coach, who will be presenting on using the body in coaching and coaching supervision. So for any of you who find that also an interesting topic, please join us this evening. And Camilla, thank you so much for this valuable content. I think we've all really appreciated whether we're on the MCC journey or not, because as Franco so beautifully said, it's relevant to so many places in our life, I think, where we're in transition or if we have goals that we want to accomplish. Thank you so much. I look forward to the additional information that we'll be receiving over email. And with that, I think I'm complete. If there's anything else that you wanted to say, I'll hand it off to you for the last minute.
Yeah, I would just want to thank you, everyone. Shakti, first of everyone, it's been lovely meeting you, and everyone, all the best in your lives and also in your coaching journeys.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here and for everything you contributed today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And for anything, just a chat, just feel free to get in touch. Absolutely.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.